If one day you find your soul weary, the world around you quiet, yet your heart feels unbearably heavy, pause for a moment and take a deep breath. This message isn't for the noise in your mind, but for that gentle, silent place within you, a place you may have forgotten exists. On the outside, everything might seem fine. You smile, you keep going, you do what needs to be done. But deep inside, there's a quiet ache, a sense of restlessness, a hidden storm no one else can see. Your thoughts scatter like leaves caught in the wind, and sometimes the silence around you feels louder than any words. If this feels familiar, remember, you are not alone. You are not broken. You are not lost. As the Buddha teaches, healing doesn't come from the outside. It begins within. The peace you're searching for, the strength you think you've lost, the love you believe has gone. They have never truly left you. They've been here all along, waiting quietly inside you, untouched by the noise of the world. Today we begin a gentle journey inward, not to fix or change anything, but simply to return to yourself. Together we'll explore 10 timeless truths inspired by Buddhist wisdom. These aren't just lessons. They're quiet medicine for a weary heart, soft lights to guide you through the dark. Let this be more than just another video. Let it be a calm space where your emotions feel safe and your spirit can breathe again. Close your eyes for a moment. Inhale slowly. Feel that breath filling you. That is where healing begins. You are enough. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of love. And you are worthy of coming home to yourself. Now, with the guidance of the Buddha, let us take our first step together into stillness, into gentle self-respect. Lesson 1. Nothing lasts forever, and in that truth lies our hope. Pain often convinces us that we're stuck frozen in a moment that refuses to end. Sometimes sorrow feels endless. Emptiness feels permanent. But there is a quiet truth that runs through all of life. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes. You may have lived through days that felt unbearably long, nights that seemed to swallow every trace of light. You may have whispered to yourself, "Will this ever end? Will I ever feel alive again?" And yet, even as you were asking those questions, life was still moving quietly, shifting, preparing to bring you something new. The world kept moving. The sun rose once more. The seasons shifted. Leaves changed their colors, and the wind carried on. In every corner of nature, the same message whispers to us. Everything is always becoming something new. This is the teaching of impermanence, a truth the Buddha repeated time and time again. No feeling, no storm, no moment of despair can last forever. It only feels endless when we are standing right in the middle of it. But just as winter slowly softens into spring, your pain will begin to melt away. One morning you'll wake up and realize that the heavy weight pressing on your chest feels lighter. It may not disappear all at once, but it will no longer hold you the way it once did. Even the longest night must eventually surrender to the light, and so will your suffering. This moment you're living right now is not the whole story of your life. It's only a single chapter. What feels unbearable today is quietly shaping the strength you'll need tomorrow. Struggles are not here to break you. They are here to deepen your roots and awaken the resilience you didn't know you had. When you feel overwhelmed and everything around you seems frozen, remember this truth. Nothing is permanent. What you're feeling right now is only a wave passing through the vast ocean of your life. And in that movement, there is hope. In that change, there is healing. In that endless flow, there is always the chance to begin again. Lesson 2. Make space for your pain don't run from it. Healing doesn't happen when we pretend we're fine. It begins the moment we stop running and gently admit to ourselves, yes, this hurts. Like a single candle lit in the darkest room, healing starts quietly, rooted in truth, nurtured by stillness. Most of us carry wounds no one else can see. We smile through the day, while something inside us feels heavy and unfinished. We fill our lives with noise, busyness, and distractions, hoping the pain will fade on its own. But pain doesn't vanish when we ignore it. It waits patiently for us to finally turn toward it. The Buddha reminds us, what we avoid will keep returning. Pain is not a punishment, and it's not here to destroy you. It's here because something deep within you is asking to be seen. When we stop asking why pain came, and instead ask what it wants to teach us, something shifts. And in that moment, wisdom begins to take root. Sit with your pain, even if it speaks only in silence. Let it be here without rushing to change it, without forcing it away. Don't treat it as an enemy, but as a messenger carrying something you once buried deep within. The more space you allow it, the softer it becomes. In time, you may realize that pain is not a threat. It's simply a part of you longing to come home. True strength is not pretending you're fine. It's acknowledging you're hurt and still choosing to grow. Every pain you've carried holds a lesson. Every scar is a piece of your story. And those cracks you feel inside, they're not signs of failure. They are openings, tiny doors through which light can enter. You don't need to be perfect or whole or healed all at once. You only need to be honest. In the gentle acceptance of your brokenness, you begin the journey back to your true self. From that place, healing becomes possible. Lesson 3. Heal by returning to yourself with kindness. True healing doesn't begin when others notice you or offer their love. It begins when you choose to treat yourself with gentleness and care. So often we find ourselves breaking apart over small moments, a cold reply, a missed message, a forgotten gesture. These hurt not only because of what others did, but because of what they awaken within us. Feelings of doubt, fear, and that quiet aching belief that we're not enough. But the deepest wound is not caused by others withholding love. It comes from how often we forget to love ourselves. We seek approval from the outside, hoping someone else will make us feel whole, while we turn away from our own needs. We silence our pain. We abandon ourselves, all in search of someone else's embrace. Buddhist wisdom reminds us, just as you are right now, you are worthy of love, not after you change, not after you succeed, but now, in this very moment. You are not broken. You are not incomplete. You are simply disconnected from your own presence. Imagine how life would feel if you treated yourself with the same tenderness you offer those you love most. What if each morning began not with harsh self-judgment, but with quiet compassion? What if your mistakes weren't carried as shame, but held gently as lessons? What if instead of waiting for someone else to see your worth, you chose to see it yourself? This isn't arrogance. It's a quiet, unshakable strength. Self-compassion isn't about self-indulgence. It's about staying present with your own heart. It means not abandoning yourself when life feels heavy. It means listening to your emotions, holding space for them without running away. When you begin to care for yourself from the inside out, the fear of being alone starts to fade. You stop chasing constant reassurance. You begin to grow roots deep in the soil of your own being. You become your own shelter. And from that place, healing quietly begins to bloom. So the next time you feel unseen or exhausted from searching for validation, pause. Take a slow, steady breath. And remind yourself gently, I am enough. I am seen. I am loved. In that moment, you will feel the quiet strength of someone who has returned home to themselves. And from there, no wound is too deep to heal. Lesson 4. Finding the medicine hidden in silence. True healing doesn't always come from effort or action. Sometimes it appears when we stop doing and simply begin being. In a world that constantly pushes us to go faster, to reach more, to become more, we forget. A quiet truth: stillness can be our greatest teacher. We rush from task to task, from person to person, filling our days with distractions. Our minds are crowded, not just with the noise of the world, but with the endless voices inside. We rarely pause. We rarely listen. But perhaps what we are searching for isn't in the next step forward. Maybe it's waiting in a place we almost never visit: the stillness within. Buddhist wisdom teaches that a calm mind is the root of happiness, and that calmness begins with silence. It's only in the quiet that we can truly hear what lies beneath the surface. When you let go for just a moment and close your eyes, you may notice how strange stillness feels at first. Silence can be uncomfortable. Thoughts rise. Old feelings resurface. The mind resists. But this is where true transformation begins. When we stop running from ourselves, we finally meet ourselves. And somewhere in that silence, a soft voice begins to speak. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand. It whispers. You are not lost. You are simply tired. Come home to yourself. That voice isn't your fear. It's your deepest knowing. And it has been patiently waiting for you all along. Sitting in silence is not always easy, but it is sacred. As you remain present in stillness, the tension you've been carrying begins to dissolve. You start to see beyond the layers of stress and confusion. Fear loosens its grip. Your vision clears, and what once felt unbearably heavy begins to feel light again. This is where healing truly begins, not in running away from what's hard, but in facing it with presence. When the world feels too loud or too fast, dare to stop. Sit quietly. Close your eyes. Take a deep, intentional breath. Let yourself return to the silence that has always lived within you. There you will discover something profound. Peace was never something you had to chase. It was always here, patiently waiting for you to be still, enough to notice. Lesson 5. The present moment is where life truly lives. Real peace doesn't come from digging through the past or trying to predict the future. It's born in the stillness of this very breath. So often we wake up carrying the weight of yesterday. Our bodies move through the day, but our minds are tangled in what was or what could have been. And when night comes, instead of resting, we lie awake, haunted by worries about what tomorrow might bring. This is a quiet kind of suffering, being here, but not truly present. Alive, but not fully living. The Buddha gently reminds us life exists only in the now. And yet we spend so much of our time reliving regrets, replaying pain, and imagining fears that haven't even happened. All while the present moment slips away unnoticed. Ask yourself, can you change the past by holding on to it? Can you control the future by fearing it? The answer is no. All we truly have is this breath, this heartbeat, this very moment. Healing begins when we return to reality, not the story in our head, but the living moment right before us. Feel your breath as it rises and falls. Listen to the sounds around you. Notice the ground beneath your feet. This is your doorway back to presence. This isn't about forgetting your past or ignoring what lies ahead. It's about refusing to miss what's already here. Every passing second is a piece of your life that will never come back. When you begin to honor this moment, everything within you begins to change. Your mind begins to quiet. Your heart starts to soften. And you realize you're healing, not because life suddenly became perfect, but because you stopped running from the only place where life ever truly exists, right here. So when your mind pulls you back into the past or pushes you ahead into the future, pause. Gently ask yourself, am I missing what's here? Then take a slow breath. Look around you. Feel the presence within. And say softly to yourself, I am here. I am awake. This moment is enough. Lesson 6. Trace the pain to its roots. The Buddha once shared a truth so simple yet so often forgotten. All pain has a cause. And when we see that cause clearly, the suffering begins to loosen its hold. Don't imagine this truth only in the lives of saints or sages. See it in the lives of people like you and me. There was once a young boy named Arjun. One day at school, he made a small mistake. It should have been a moment of gentle correction, a chance to learn. But instead, his father scolded him harshly in front of everyone. Laughter filled the room. Shame poured over him like a flood. The moment passed, but deep inside something remained, untouched, unhealed. Years went by. Arjun graduated, found a good job, built a life that seemed whole from the outside. But whenever someone offered even the mildest criticism, a wave of anxiety would rise. His hands would shake. His voice would falter. His confidence would collapse. People told him he was too sensitive, but no one saw the wound buried beneath a scar without a name, a story he never allowed himself to tell. The Buddha once said, when the roots of a tree dry up, its branches cannot flourish. And in the same way, when we ignore the origin of our emotional pain, our outer life may appear strong, but inside, something quietly begins to decay. So what do? We distract ourselves. We pretend everything is fine. We force a smile. We repeat empty affirmations. But these only soothe the surface. True healing doesn't come from running. It comes from stillness, from the moment we stop and ask ourselves, where did this begin? Why does this wound still bleed? What moment have I never fully faced? Maybe someone you trusted broke your heart. Maybe your dreams were mocked. Or maybe the pain began the moment you stopped believing in yourself. And instead of facing it, you buried it deep. But pain that is hidden doesn't disappear. It waits. It whispers. It quietly shapes the way you see the world and the way you treat yourself. The Buddha reminds us to understand is to be free. And freedom doesn't begin with escape. It begins with awareness. When you ask yourself, what is the true source of my suffering? You light a small but powerful lantern within. It won't always be easy. It may not earn you applause, but it will give you truth. And in truth begins the first step toward liberation. Lesson 7. Let go of the illusion of comparison. Have you ever felt as if you were running a race you never agreed to join? One moment, you're simply living your life, and the next, you're drowning in images of perfect vacations, flawless relationships, and success stories that seem just out of reach. You didn't ask for it yet. Somehow, you find yourself comparing your behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's carefully curated highlights. Comparison doesn't announce its arrival. It doesn't shout. It slips in quietly when you're tired, when you're vulnerable, when you're scrolling late at night. It pretends to be harmless, just a spark of curiosity. But over time, it becomes something else. It becomes a habit that slowly drains your self-worth. Here's the truth. No one else can walk your path. You are not here to chase someone else's timeline or copy someone else's life. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming. When you measure your life against someone else's progress, You erase the power of your own transformation. You forget the days you chose to keep going when giving up would have been easier. You overlook the courage it took to face your darkness in silence. You miss the beauty of your small victories, the ones no camera ever caught. The moon never envies the sun. The lotus doesn't rush to bloom before the others. Nature understands something we often forget: everything unfolds in its own time. So, breathe. Take your eyes off their path and turn inward. Ask yourself, what if my journey was never meant to look like theirs? What if my timing is sacred, not slow? The Buddha didn't teach us to run toward perfection. He taught us to return to presence. He reminded us that peace begins the moment we stop comparing. Joy returns the moment we start appreciating who we already are. Today you have a choice. You can keep chasing shadows, or you can stand still and recognize your own light. Choose to stop scrolling through someone else's life as if it holds the answers to your own. Choose to trust your process. Choose to honor the truth of who you are becoming. Because the moment you stop measuring yourself against others, you finally see the miracle of your own growth. And once comparison fades, you're ready to take the next step on your healing path, learning how to meet yourself with compassion. Not just for your mistakes, but for the moments you didn't know better, for the seasons when you were simply surviving. And that journey begins with forgiveness. Lesson 8. Forgiveness is the path to inner freedom. Have you ever held on to pain so tightly that it began to define you? Maybe it was a betrayal that left you speechless, or a memory that returns again and again, whispering blame and anger into your thoughts. Perhaps it wasn't even about someone else. Perhaps it was about you carrying regret, like a shadow too heavy to outrun. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength in its quietest form. It is not about surrendering to the one who hurt you. It is about releasing yourself from the prison they left behind. The Buddha understood the depth of human suffering. He taught that forgiveness is not something we owe to others. It is something we owe to ourselves. It's a deep, cleansing breath for a soul that's been suffocating under the weight of old wounds. But we live in a world where pain often gets recycled. Someone hurts you, so you hold on to it. You replay the story. You harden your heart. You wait for an apology that may never come, believing that somehow your silence will balance the scales. But ask yourself, has holding on to the anger ever made you whole again? Or has it only made you more tired, more bitter, more distant from the peace you deserve? Holding on to pain is like wrapping your heart in chains and wondering why it can't beat freely. The longer you carry it, the more it robs you of joy, of love, of presence. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's about choosing to no longer be controlled by what hurt you. It's about standing in your truth and saying, "This pain happened, but it no longer owns me." And the one person we so often forget to forgive is ourselves. For the mistakes we made when we didn't know better, for the roads we didn't take, for the words we wish we could take back, for the chances we let slip away. Self-forgiveness is not self-pity. It's self-liberation. It's the understanding that your past does not have to be your prison. It can be your teacher. And from those lessons, a new self can rise, softer, wiser, more awake. So today, take a moment, sit with your pain, and then gently begin to let it go. Not because the past was fair, not because the wound didn't matter, but because your peace matters more. To forgive is to set the future free. And when you choose forgiveness, not just for them, but for yourself, you begin to walk with lighter steps, a clearer mind, and a heart no longer weighed down by yesterday. Forgiveness isn't really about the other person. It's about you, your healing, your peace, your return to the present. Once you choose to forgive, you no longer need to fight your pain. You learn to meet it with compassion. And that is where true healing begins. Lesson 9. Live fully in the present. There is a kind of tiredness that doesn't come from carrying heavy loads or running long distances. It's the exhaustion that lives in the mind, a constant stream of thoughts rushing back to the past and racing ahead to the future. Regret from yesterday, fear about tomorrow, all while the present moment quietly slips away. Most people live like this without ever realizing they're missing something priceless. They're awake, but not truly alive. The Buddha once said the key to peace isn't hidden in some faraway temple or mountaintop. It's here, in this moment. If only we choose to be present. This is the heart of mindfulness. It's not only about sitting cross-legged in silence, it's about showing up fully in your life exactly where you are. Start by asking yourself, how do you begin your day? Most of us reach for our phone before we even take our first deep breath. Before gratitude, before intention, we dive straight into the noise. But imagine beginning differently. Imagine waking up and simply lying there for a moment, feeling the softness of your pillow, the air filling your lungs, the quiet all around you. No rush, just awareness. As you rise, bring your attention to the small things. When you brush your teeth, notice the texture of the bristles, the cool touch of the water, the fresh scent of the toothpaste. These aren't just chores, they're small invitations to come back to your senses, to anchor yourself in the present. That same awareness can follow you through the rest of your day. When you eat, do it without rushing, without scrolling on your phone. Look at your food. Breathe in its scent. Truly taste it. Behind each bite is sunlight, rain, the hands of farmers, and the care of those who prepared it. Eating becomes more than nourishment. It becomes gratitude. And in that quiet space of gratitude, peace quietly slips in. Even walking can change you. Most of the time, we walk as if we're late, even when we're not. But what if you walked just to walk? What if you felt your feet pressing into the ground, noticed the breeze brushing against your skin, and moved as if every step were a prayer? Slowly, your mind would begin to quiet. Your body would start to relax. You'd stop feeling pulled in 1,000 directions. And when you work, try giving your full attention to one thing at a time. Not because it's urgent, but because it's here right now. You may find yourself accomplishing more with far less stress. Ironically, success often comes not from chasing it, but from being fully present with what's in front of you. Mindfulness also transforms the way we connect with others. Most people don't truly listen. They're simply waiting for their turn to speak. But the next time someone talks to you, really listen. Not just to their words, but to their feelings, to the pauses, to the silences in between. Let them feel heard. In that presence, relationships grow deeper. Hearts begin to soften. At first, this practice may feel unfamiliar. Your mind is used to leaping from one thought to the next, from one worry to another. But with time, the present moment will start to feel like home. You'll notice moments lingering longer. Life will stop rushing by in a blur, and beneath the noise, you'll rediscover your own steady rhythm. Peace was never something outside of you. It was here all along, hidden beneath your busy thoughts. With mindfulness, you uncover it one breath, one step, one moment at a time. The more you live in the now, the more beautiful life becomes. The ordinary turns sacred, and you begin to understand what it truly means to be alive. Lesson 10. Begin each morning with a quiet revolution. Every morning arrives with a gentle invitation, not for loud dramatic change, but for a subtle, sacred transformation. It asks nothing about your past. It holds no judgment over yesterday's mistakes. It simply arrives soft, golden whispering, that today is untouched, unspoiled, and completely yours. Yet so often, we carry the weight of yesterday into this fresh day. The arguments, the disappointments, the fears. We let them spill into the morning like ink on a page meant to be blank. And then we wonder why nothing feels truly new. You don't have to wear your past like armor. The world doesn't expect you to be the same person you were yesterday. In fact, life offers you something rare, a clean slate with every sunrise. With each dawn, you are given permission to begin again, not just in thought, but in action. You can choose to be softer, to move slower, to forgive more easily, to smile more freely. Imagine waking up and truly letting go, not just in words, but deep in the quiet of your heart. Imagine starting the day not by checking notifications or rushing into tasks, but by breathing in stillness, by sitting in the calm company of your own presence. That isn't weakness. That is power. That is where healing begins. We've been taught to believe that change happens only through big decisions and dramatic actions. But the deepest changes often happen quietly in the pauses between breaths, in the choice to begin again, in the decision not to be trapped by yesterday's story. The Buddha taught that every morning is a rebirth. This is not just poetry, it's a living truth. When you open your eyes, the world is new again. You are not bound to live today the same way you lived yesterday. You are free to step into awareness, to return to love, to become a safe place for peace. Let go of what you didn't finish. Release the words that caused hurt. Set yourself free from the guilt of not being perfect. Perfection was never the aim. Presence is, and each morning offers you a sacred doorway back to it. Close your eyes. Breathe in slowly, filling your chest with air. And tell yourself, today, I will not be led by the shadows of the past. Today, I will be gentle. I will be honest. I will be present. I will welcome life with open hands. Because the truth is, you are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And every sunrise is proof that life believes in you, again and again. Conclusion. Every day carries the power to start fresh. But the real question is, will you take that first step? Or will you let old energy steal your new moments? You have the strength to pause, to breathe, to return to peace. Let the wisdom of the Buddha guide you not just in thought, but in the way you live each day. If this message touched your heart and reminded you of your inner strength, then this channel is your home. Subscribe and join a growing community seeking peace, clarity, and deeper understanding. Like this video if it spoke to you, and share it with someone who might be ready for a fresh start. Remember, every morning is a new road, and you were born to walk it with grace.